Hey, this is Goldman, and welcome to the week ahead. Well, this week begins the start of earnings season, and this will be one of the most closely watched earnings seasons we've seen in such a long time. This year, market volatility has surged dramatically, but at the same time, analysts have been revising earnings estimates higher throughout the year. When you think about the adage, earnings drive stock prices, markets are going to be watching earnings releases very carefully in order to gauge which way the stock market is headed on a go-forward basis. From a consensus standpoint, FactSet expects earnings to rise 4.5% year over year for the S&P 500. FactSet also expects revenues to rise 10.7% year over year. And think about this, if revenues rise over 10% this quarter, this will mark the fifth straight quarter of over 10% revenue growth. That's a very, very impressive number. So as companies release earnings, we get tons of information from company management, and there's some key questions that we need answered from them. Number one, what are companies thinking about supply chain challenges? Also, how are companies dealing with labor shortages? Cost pressures are rising, but how are companies passing these costs on to customers and their buyers? How are profit margins being affected, of course? What are companies doing to increase productivity? If you look at orders and sales, and you subtract out the effects of inflation, are orders and sales rising or falling? Also, how has the war in Ukraine affected business? And lastly, are companies reassessing doing business in China on a go-forward basis? Lots of questions that we hope to get answered as we hear from company management throughout the quarter. This week, we'll hear from a lot of banks, a lot of financial services companies, and we'll look at carefully terms of loan loss reserves. Are companies changing their expectation in terms of how the consumer will be in this environment on a go-forward basis? Anyways, this has been Gene Goldman. Thank you for listening in today. For more information, please follow us on Twitter at SateraIM. Thank you, and make it a great week.